Hello students, welcome to Excel Academy's YouTube channel. Now in this video, our focus is to understand the definition and components of business environment. Like all of you know, business environment is one of the important subjects in the CS Foundation examination. If you have gone through the marks allocation, you would have understood that you will get questions for 40 marks from business environment. So before we begin with the concepts of business environment, it is important for us to understand the definition of business management and its components. If we understand this part well, understanding the entire subject more or less becomes very easy for us. Now here, let us try to understand the word environment first before we even get into business environment. Now, if I ask you this simple question, what is environment? Now, forget about business, forget about your foundation examination. Just focus on this word environment. This is not a new word for any one of us. We've heard this umpteen number of times since our childhood. Now, what is environment? The simplest of the definitions is all that we see around us is our environment. All that is found around us make us our environment. So what is it that we see around us? We see plants, we see animals, we see rocks, we see soil, we feel air, and we also feel the light and the heat. So what we understand about this is all this makes our environment. Now I have a question to all of you. When the weather changes, when the season changes, the weather changes. So when the weather changes, we change ourselves according to the changing seasons. Say for example, if it is summer, we would prefer wearing cotton clothes. If it is winter, we would prefer wearing something that is made of wool. And if it starts raining, we would definitely start using umbrellas and raincoats and other things. So what do we understand? Our environment has got a role to play in our lives. And what do is we change ourselves or adapt ourselves to the changes that is happening around us. What if we don't adapt to those changes? Suppose it is very, very cold and we don't carry anything that keeps us warm. So we would not be comfortable. Similarly, on a very warm day, if we end up wearing something which is made of nylon or rayon, what happens is we will not be comfortable, we will start sweating and we will not be able to do the things at our best. So what we understand is we have a relationship with the environment and we are very small when compared to the environment and we have no choice but to adapt ourselves to the environment around us. Similarly, what we can do is let us remove ourselves from this example and place our business. Now our business is at the center and our business is covered by a lot of other factors. The other factors can be something like the rules, regulations, the taxation, the customers, the suppliers, all of them with whom we deal with becomes important and they form our environment. So how can we define the business environment? Business environment is the sum total of the forces that is exerted on the business, which is both controllable and non-controllable. So the summation of the controllable and the non-controllable factors, which has got a role to play in our business, creates our business environment. Say for example, there is an industry, take IT as an industry. So IT industry is influenced by a lot of factors on which the IT industry has got some control and there are factors on which the IT industry has got no control whatsoever. And that creates the environment for the IT industry. Now, we will see the different components which are the integral part of the business environment. Now, like discussed earlier, business environment has two important components. One is the internal environment, which is controllable, which the business has complete control over it. And the second one is the external environment. And here the business has got no control over it. In the slides to follow, we will see the different components of the internal and the external environment. Now, internal environment. Now, the first component of internal environment is the man, that is the human resource. Every company has got the liberty to select the kind of human resource they want, and they purely select the human resource based on the kind of job they do. There is a golden rule in human resource management which says that right man for the right job at the right time. So companies have the liberty to select the kind of human resource they want to work in their organization. The second component of internal environment is money. Now, money is, or you can also call this as capital. Capital is very important for any business. There are different ways in which a business can source its own capital. Now, when you go to the higher classes, you will be studying about the debt and the equity and other things. So, money also, from where do you source? How much do you source? What is the cost of money? All these things can be decided by the company. Hence, it is the part of the internal environment. The third one is the marketing resource. Marketing is all about creating awareness about the goods and the services the company is producing. So it is up to the company to decide the kind of channel that they want to use, the kind of resource that they want to invest on marketing and other things. And this is also a part of the internal environment. The next one is the machinery, the kind of physical assets the company has got. It also covers the kind of equipments they have and the kind of technology that they want to bring in. All these things are decided by the company, and hence it is the component of the internal environment. The next part of the internal environment is the management structure and the nature of management. Now, in the chapters to come, you would be studying about different management structures or the organization structure. You will understand there is something called line organization, staff organization, line and staff organization, matrix, and project organization. There are different ways in which the human resource of the organization can be organized and arranged in different forms. So it is up to the discretion of the management to decide how the structure of the organization should be, and hence it is a internal environment. Next, the last part is the miscellaneous factors, R&D. R&D stands for research and development. How much of resource is allocated on research and development? What is the type of image the company wants to have in the market? The value system. Value system is basically what the company very strongly believes and follows. So all these form the internal environment of the organization. Like I told you earlier, internal environment is controllable environment. The company has got, or the promoters have got, complete control over these factors. Now let us move on to the next slide, and here we have the external environment. External environment has got two subdivisions. The first one is the micro environment. It is also called the operative environment. And the next one is the macro environment, and it is called the general environment. Now we call this general environment simply because it is the changes or the components that are there in the macro environment is not created keeping one business or one company in mind. It is done for the overall business environment or the overall industry that is available in the country. So this is the macro environment is called general environment. Micro environment is called the operative environment. Now, even before we get into the details of micro environment and macro environment, let us quickly have a diagram here to understand this. Let us say this is the business. We are placing the business at the center. All that you see here, this area, is the internal environment. Now, all that is very close to the business, this part, becomes the micro external environment, and this becomes the macro external environment. So what happens here is that a business is here, and all that falls in the shaded area is what the business can control. Although the micro internal environment is very close to the business, it has got no control, and this part has got absolutely on this part the business has got absolutely no control. So inside this, it is the internal environment. These two circles are the external environment. In the external environment, we have two parts. One is the micro environment and other is the macro environment. Hope you have understood the subdivisions now. Let us move on. Let us see the components that come under the micro environment. In micro environment, we have the customers. Although we deal with the customers on a daily basis, we have got no control over them in any areas. Second one is employees. Although employees are a part, we have the right to select or reject the employees when they come for the interview, but what they do after joining the company, we have got little or no control over it. That's why we talk about attrition in HR, where employees leave one company and go in search of another company, and company has got no formal control over this. Next is the suppliers. Although we can set standards for the suppliers and demand that this is the kind of quality that we look from them, it is up to them either to adhere to that or they may stop supplying to us. Next is the shareholders, people who have invested money on our business. We cannot hold them and we cannot tell them that they should continue to invest their capital only in our company, and we have got no control over them, although we deal with them on a daily basis. Next is the media. Media includes everything from the social media to the newspapers to everything that we see around us. What is the opinion that they form on us is purely left to them. We cannot influence them. Next is the competitors. When we have no control over our own customers, employees, suppliers, and shareholders, we cannot expect any sort of control over the competitors. They have their own mind and they think and act accordingly. So these are the components or the factors which come under the micro environment. The last part of this video is the external environment. Let us see the factors which come under the external environment. The first of the factors here is the political environment. Political environment of a country is huge, and the political environment of the country is responsible for the creation of the government. Now, what sort of government is created, what is the belief of the government is purely dependent on the political environment. Any government, any political system will have three parts in it: the legislative, the judiciary, and the executive. And they are all independent bodies. Any business, any company is very small to exercise any control over the political environment. That's why it is a part of the external environment. The second one is the economic condition. We know that economy is cyclic in nature. Now, on top, we have the boom stage, then we have the recession, then we have the depression, then we have the growth or the recovery stage. So we may take up this in detail in one of our videos, but economic condition decides the economic status of any country, and it is not only cyclic, it is not controlled by anybody. It keeps changing, it keeps moving. So any business has to understand the economic condition that is existing in the environment and make changes accordingly. The next one is the social environment, the society. Now, who forms the society? It is the people who form the society. Their culture, their beliefs, the tradition, customs of that place decides the social environment. And social environment is also dynamic in nature. It keeps changing, and it becomes important for the external environment. It becomes important for the business to understand this factor and make the changes accordingly. Next one is the technological environment. What is the level of technology that is available in the business place? How receptive are the people for technology, and how fast the technology is changing? Based on that, it becomes important for the business also to change and adopt to the new technology that is being active in the environment. Next is the ecology. Now we know we are in an age where people are talking about sustainable development, people are talking about green practices and other things. So ecology is the natural environment that we see. So what are the rules and regulations and norms that is available or that is practiced when it comes to business, and how is the business going to follow that forms the ecology part of it. Next is the legal environment, the rules, regulations. All these things are a part of the legal environment. So if you take India as an example, today we follow the Companies Act of 2013, or you talk about, there are a lot of rules and regulations which every company has to follow. And if they are into imports and exports, they have a different set of rules and regulations to follow. The company registration, there are a lot of things which are legal matters which the company has to know, the business has to know and follow it. The last one is the demography. Now, what is demography? Demography is a study of the population. So under the study of the population, we generally study about the size of the population, the male-female ratio that is there, the education level, the qualification that people have got, and the kind of jobs or the occupation, the average income they have, the family size. All these are a part of demography, and it is very important for any business to understand demography. We can understand and bring about changes accordingly, but it is impossible for us to change the demography of a given place. Hence, all these factors are a part of the external environment. External environment is also called the uncontrollable environment, where the business has got no control over any of these things. Now, the point is, how do we remember these factors? There is an acronym for this, and the acronym is PESTLE. Easy to remember, PESTLE. P stands for political, E stands for economic condition, S stands for social environment, T for technological environment, E for ecology, L for legal, and D stands for demography. So if you remember this acronym, remembering all these external factors becomes very easy to you. So these are the important components that we see in the business environment. To sum up, there are two important parts in the business environment. One is the internal and other is the external. And internal has got no subdivisions, but when we come to external, we have the micro and the macro, and we have in detail discussed the different components of business environment. Hope this video was of some help to you. If you have any doubts, please leave your doubts in the comment section and we shall get back to you. Thank you so much.